Hey, thanks for joining me. We're going to look at another issue of Shaolin Cowboy. This thing has been a kind of a really interesting revelation to me. I've heard of the comic for a long time, knew nothing about it. I never saw it anywhere. Or if I did see it, I didn't pay attention to it at the time. I didn't know what it was. And Geof Darrow, another one of those guys as an artist that I'd heard of forever, and I'd see a couple pictures here and there, but I never really understood. I never really got it. And then in the last several months, I ordered a copy of the Hard Boiled that he did with Frank Miller, and I guess it was like a remastered, recolored version. And after comparing the original colored version and the new recolored version, I think the recolored one looks better. I kind of started to understand about Geof Darrow's artwork, and I started to get it. I started to understand. And so now I'm like, I saw a copy of Shaolin Cowboy. This is not my first one. I've only had one other before. It was this one. I've already done a video on this book. And I mean, it says issue 1 of December of 2004. And this thing says issue 1, but this is like 2013. So I don't know if it's a new series, a new story. I don't know. I'm completely lost on the story of this Shaolin Cowboy guy. Before I get into the new issue, I feel like I want to pop this one open just once again for anybody who didn't see the art, the storytelling. It's absolutely first rate. But there's this thing that Geof Darrow did in this book that I have never seen in all my years of comics and all the books I've ever collected. When you see something you've just never seen before. You got the main hero here. We won't get into the story of what's going on. We're just going to look at this shot where the main hero guy riding this donkey, he gets surrounded by all these human people, like the people that are out to get him. But so it's not just that it's a double page spread. And it's just not just that every one of these human figures is a different, unique body type with very vastly differing clothes and styles and gears and hats and shoes and guns and just everything. Everything is different. But it's not just that it's a double page spread. It's that this single image continues onto the next page of another double page spread of more of them. And it continues again here. And it continues again here. And it continues here. All of these images line up and can be attached to the previous one. So if they were all lined up, it's this long, huge image of just all these amazing figures drawn. I saw this and was absolutely just blown away. Like, what am I looking at? Who does this? It's kind of done for like, this thing about Geof Darrow, I mean, this is pure artistic indulgence, right? This is, I want to say a waste of space, implying they shouldn't have done it. That's not the right term to use. It is a lot of space used up to tell you nothing except that he's surrounded by a bunch of people. But the artistic kind of shock that you get out of this is undeniable. So I saw that and I was like, holy crap, that's incredible. But yeah, this is issue 1 from, 2004. And then this says issue 1 and it said 2013. So a lot of years in between. So I'm not an expert on this character in the slightest. I don't know anything about it. I haven't bothered to Google it and look it up and see what it says about the character. I'm just more interested in, like, let me just flip this open and experience it. And I don't really need to know anything about the character because I am just going to be blown away by Geof Darrow's work. Story and art, so he does pencils, inks, Dave Stewart on colors, and it's just them, right? It's just these guys. Now there is this story so far, and there's this microscopic text, and it continues on all the way through here. I'm like, ugh. I don't have the energy to read this right now. I did read some parts of it. And there's some funny stuff in here. It's pretty clever. So I don't know if this is actually the backstory to stuff that's been shown. I don't know. But we just jump into it. 6 years later from what, the previous story, I guess. The thing about Geof Darrow's work in these comics, and it's like, as I flipped through this and kind of read this issue just before videoing here, it's like silent comics. There's almost no words. I don't think sound effects pop up very often, if at all. And the only things you read are what the characters say. It's all about visual storytelling, just looking at what's going on. You don't need to fill it with text boxes of stuff telling you all kinds of nonsensical stuff to over-explain it. Let's just experience it, right? That's my opinion on it. And you have to be an artistic master to do this. And that is Geof Darrow. Sorry, I'm always in a state of trying to get my camera at optimum position here. As I understand it, Geof Darrow works digitally. I don't know if he always has. I don't know. I don't know about the history of Geof Darrow. I'm not going to pretend to. But he does his comics digitally. And it makes sense when you see some of the hyper fine details that just go into the distance of these things. I feel like this isn't like, I'm guessing here, I think this is correct, and you guys can correct me if you know better, but he doesn't just take like an 11 by 17 template and then draw in the panel at the size and just zoom in on it. It's like each panel is its own unique work of art that he then pieces together and makes the full panel out of. It's shocking, the level of detail. That's the thing with Darrow, is the amount of detail. Clear line, not a lot of heavy shadows or darks. And again, I love it because there's no sound effects anywhere. It's not needed. There are times when sound effects are needed and they work just fine. But in the case of this, what he's doing, not needed. So just to go along with the story, there's this giant rock. And it started on this previous page here where a frog is sitting on top of this rock. It's just kind of funny, kind of cute, kind of interesting. This giant rock, and it starts rocking, shaking, vibrating. The frog jumps off as the rock tilts to the side, rocks back and forth. The frog goes jumping away as the rock, this giant boulder, comes flinging out of the way. Out comes this weapon. At looking at it, it's like a chainsaw, a double-ended chainsaw connected at the center. That comes flying out, and then out comes these dirty, bloody hands crawling out of this hole. And up comes Shaolin cowboy himself. I don't know if he's got a name. I don't know anything about this character except what was in that previous book, which tells you nothing except here he is, kind of like a fat, schlubby old Asian man. Gets out of the hole. His hands are bloody. I mean, from digging. Where's he been? Where did he dig out of? How can he throw a giant rock out of the way? Is he superhuman? Probably. Throwing boulders. Is he super strong? There's so many unanswered questions, and I love it. I don't need to have everything spelled out. Like, you're kind of curious, and maybe if you keep reading the series, you'll get little bits and pieces, but it's just silent, and you just experience it. Just watch it. Just read it. Just look at it. You don't need to have everything spelled out for you. It kind of requires you to engage your fucking imagination and think about a thing, as opposed to like having everything spelled out for you so you just know it all clearly. Like, just experience this thing and just go on the ride, and then come up with your own thoughts after it, and then maybe we'll find out more as the story goes. So he's out of the hole of the ground. He's looking around. He's fucking pulls. I was like, he's picking his nose, but it's like he pulled a bone out of his nostril or something. Scratching himself. He's kind of dirty and beat up. He's been through hell. And then the landscape, it looks like a deserty, rocky area, which it is. But then there's like animal bones. There's debris and garbage. So signs of human existence are here. He goes over to this thing, and again, it's a chainsaw connected by a pole in the middle and a second chainsaw on the other side. It's really wild. Just drops to his knees. He says one word. A-M-I-T-O-U-F-U, Emitofu. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the asterisk down here, it says, "Praise be to Buddha." So he's grateful for living and being free. Okay. And then in the background, there's a more explosion of rubble and stuff. The guy looks, dirt and debris, hands are coming up out of it. He looks, dozens of hands, hundreds of hands, something scary, something following him. I don't know. He grabs his double-bladed chainsaw weapon and looks like he takes off running. And then we get this crazy awesome splash page of a bunch of like rotting zombie-like corpses crawling out of the hole of this ground. And I mean, they're all kind of small. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but every figure in here is given attention, proper attention, and didn't slack on anything. And then the amount of like rocky detail in the background. Again, this has to be like drawn digitally, where he zoomed in and drew all this stuff and then, you know, backs out and just to get all that detail in there. Shaolin cowboy like prepares, does a martial art move with this fucking chainsaw, and then all these monsters are coming and then getting closer and getting closer. And for some reason, he's a little spooked, scared, rethinking his situation, takes off running. Maybe he just figures there's too many of them. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what the story is. So, again, off he goes running, cloud of dust, and again, all these human figures, these rotting corpses, undressed. It's just like Walking Dead type shit. But if Walking Dead had this man in it, that story would have been wrapped up real quick. Just keeps running, going down. There's a road in the distance, and then just more close-up shots of these zombie faces. They're so well drawn. And they get farther away, like they're close, and then farther away, and then farther away till you just see their hands. So the implication to me is that our boy Shaolin Cowboy, he can run fast. He's like the fucking road runner. He just takes off. And then I started getting Roadrunner vibes here, like, you know, Looney Tunes, Wile E. Coyote shit. Because he comes running and he's out in the desert and he's on a road. And eventually, I think it's coming up here, like, he just down on a road and he just takes off running. Like, meep, just takes off. He's a fucking roadrunner. Off he goes. And again, this is like an exercise in like slow, decompressed storytelling, hyper detailed art, silent comics. Just experience the visual and just go with it. And it's like, no one makes books like these. This is so good. This is why Geof Darrow is so goddamn unique. So our little Roadrunner Shaolin Cowboy just keeps running. And then we see a view from the inside of a car, just dirty and cluttered with all kinds of cans and cigarettes and bottles and garbage and food. See a rear view mirror, a punk looking dude, another guy holding a can, which is important. They're like, dude, check it out, Jackie Chan. And this guy's like more like Jackie Chan Job, which is like a stupid frat boy joke, you know, kind of made me chuckle. But they see a Shaolin boy running down the road. And so as the car drives and they pass each other, one of the dudes jumps out and is like, hey, you're gay. And the other guy in the back is like, awesome. So then the guy that's sticking out of the window, he throws his soda can or beer can or whatever the fuck. He says, stick your dick in this can. So as they pass each other, Shaolin Cowboy catches it in his hand and then just casually tosses it behind him. And they're like, awesome. And the other guy's like, you are so gay. He's got his like middle finger up. You probably can't see it. I can bring it closer to the camera. Douchebag guy's got his middle finger up. That can comes flying up in the air and comes back down, and bam, with the opening on the top of the can, lands right on top of the guy's middle finger. He's like, what? And like, bro, you got your finger stuck in his can. And they're all like laughing and thinking it's great. So again, we're demonstrated that Shaolin Cowboy here is a bad mother effer. Like, he just casually takes the can and throws it and just to demonstration of the skill and power and precision of this guy. Meanwhile, while they're freaking out over that, they turn and look, and the zombie horde that's following Shaolin Cowboy, they're right in front of him, and all the guys in the car, they're like, oh, bollocks, fuck shit, not cool, fuck shit, fuck shit, fuck shit, shit. They're just freaking out, right? Of course you would, with a bunch of zombies coming at you. And then again, just this look of the car just plowing through all these bodies. But, you know, this is like a little wuss-mobile. Like, you might have some momentum and plow over a bunch of bodies and, you know, mow over them, but eventually your car's going to get stopped by just the mass that you're pressing against, which appears to be the case. And so now they're surrounded by all these guys. Old Roadrunner Shaolin Cowboy's running off, and he stops. He brings himself to a halt in front of a sign that says Palin's Bush, 6 miles. But he looks one direction, and then he looks the other, you know, he's like, ugh. He stops and he thinks, I'm like, so when I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my God, is he going to go back and help those punks? It's like he's considering what he's doing. So he goes a-running jumping over rocks, over mountains and hills. Look at all this incredible detail. It's unbelievable what Geof Darrow can do. And he gets to an elevated position down here. The car is just surrounded by all the zombie hordes of monsters. And you can see a close-up of the car just being engulfed, covered. Shaolin cowboy cranks his weapon back, throws up. He's got his old little martial artist, little, hand sign going on here. Inside the car, the guys are freaking out. Shaolin twirls his double-bladed chainsaw weapon. I'm like, oh shit, what's he gonna do? What is this? And then he throws it, and so it's flying through the air, spinning. Now, it shows up here. I think this is implying that he started him up, because there's like liquidy, vibration-y, elements coming off the chainsaws to imply to me that he started him up. Sends that spinning chainsaw just a-flying, and it just chops through all of their heads. Just like this is unbelievably ridiculous. Just shreds all their heads off. Blood squirting everywhere. And of course the weapon somehow arcs back. He catches it in his hand, goes jumping down. The car gets, I guess, free. They get some momentum. So they get going. They take off. Shaolin jumps down he jumps off the top of the car, then onto the road, keeps jumping through the air. The guys are taking off like, dude, that sucked. They're like, yeah, bro, check it out. And so now they're looking on like their version of YouTube. They're like, look, it's going viral on YouTube. Dude, pull your finger out of his can and check it out. So this guy still got that can stuck on his finger. He's like, it ain't his can, it's mine. So he's kind of pissed off. So Shaolin Cowboy is going off to take on the zombie hordes. But then for some reason, we switch over to this giant, ridiculously overly complicated space station. All this debris outside. There's dogs. There's rocks. I don't understand how or why all this stuff is out in space. I don't really care. But it's some kind of in space under the watchful and caring eyes of the NSA public access satellite Cheney 666. Sinister forces are starting to gather. So it's some people that are observing over the planet, and they see this video of this Shaolin cowboy, and they debate whether or not it's real and check it out and find out if it's real before we report this. Then this big old splash page of our hero still leaping through the air. Big, amazing double page spread. Again, look at all these bodies of these zombie monsters down there. You can't like start one. Well, you can, but if you're Geof Darrow, you don't. You just like, I'm going to draw every one of these in perfect detail. I'm going to put in the work, and it's going to be amazing. And he's right. I love the perspective on the chainsaw, how this machine is right up close to us. And again, the thing with Geof Darrow is he doesn't skimp on the detail anywhere. It's all correct. And the way it's coming close to us and then going down into the distance, he's going to take on all these creatures. And then that's the end of the issue. I'm like, oh my God. More zombies, more chainsaws, a cover, I guess a preview of the next issue. So fantastic. And then there's some other pinups by some other artists. Simon Roy. I've heard the name, but I can't think of where I've seen his work before. Another artist, Aaron Conley. Never heard of that. Damon Gentry. Never heard of him. Just fantastic stuff. Shaolin, here's some reviews. It says like Multiversity Comics says Shaolin Cowboy is the joy of comics, triple distilled down to its truest form, shaken up with over-the-top action. That's a great way of putting it. There's just so much in here. Like you could think of it as a quick read because there's not a lot of words to have to actually read. But what a fascinating thing to it's one of those things where you want to go back and just look at all the detail, especially if you're an artist. You want to go through and just kind of absorb it and take it all in. Good God. It's like unbelievable stuff. It's like, it's one of those things where I love the artwork, but it doesn't make me want to draw because I can never in a million years achieve what this guy does. But it also makes me want to like add just all that more detail and not cut corners. But, when I'm doing my own stuff. It's fantastic stuff. So again, I've only got 2 issues of this. The one I reviewed originally that I was showing earlier and this one here. I don't know what the story is. I don't know how much I've missed in between. All I know is that if I ever run across a copy of this thing, I'm going to pick it up. Yeah, I have to. It's just unbelievable. Geof Darrow is just otherworldly. There's a few artists that are alive or have been alive, especially in the comics world specifically, that are just just gods among men, and it's just insane what they're able to do. So this was fantastic. I can't wait to find more of these. I hope I do. But that's all I got for now. So that's all I've got. So leave me any comments. Let me know what you think. What do what do you think of this type of artwork and this type of storytelling? Blows me away every time. So that's all I've got. I will see you on the next one, and thanks for joining me. Bye.